Imagine a major emergency unfolding. Let's say a kitchen fire spreading fast through a really busy mall. You've got alarms going off, shoppers scrambling. It looks like total chaos is about to break loose.
Hmm.
But then, almost like magic, you see firefighters, police, ambulance crews, even mall security and utility workers all starting to operate together. Like they've practiced this exact thing for years.
Yeah, seamlessly.
It's a level of teamwork that honestly can feel almost impossible when you're in the thick of it.
Right. And that kind of response, that really smooth coordination, it's definitely not accidental. It's actually the result of a very deliberate nationwide system. It's designed specifically to make sure every single agency, no matter how big or small or what they specialize in, can plug into a unified operation effectively.
And that system is what we're diving into today, the National Incident Management System, or NIMS.
Exactly.
And helping us unpack this, our guide is Kristen Shea. She's an expert with, well, over 3 decades in public safety. Started way back in 1994 as a part-time file clerk in high school, actually.
Yeah, inspired by her father, who was a major in law enforcement. Her background is incredibly deep: patrol, investigations, community policing.
Right, she was promoted to sergeant, earned medals like the Purple Heart and Meritorious Service.
And since 2008, she's been the program director for criminal justice at Polk State College. So she really bridges that gap between theory and gritty, real-world practice. Very no-nonsense style.
Which is perfect for this. Her book, Integrated Response, Redefining Public Safety in a Modern Age, it really lays out her mission, making public safety stronger by getting agencies to work together better. So for us today, this deep dive is really about getting under the hood of NIMS. Using her insights, how does it actually turn all these separate groups into one cohesive force?
Yeah.
And maybe what are some of the less obvious problems it solves, in emergencies big and small?
Okay, so to really see NIMS working, let's jump back to that mall fire scenario you painted. Picture it. Riverside Mall. Smoke's visible, people are running, 911 is probably getting flooded with calls. Chaos.
You can just feel the pressure, right? The instinct for any first responder is just rush in, do something. But what's really interesting, and Kristen Shea points this out, is that Lieutenant Sarah Martinez, the first officer there, she didn't just charge in.
No.
She quickly set up an initial command post. Then she got on the radio, gave dispatch a clear picture, a size up, and specifically requested fire, EMS, and hazmat. She was building the foundation, not just, reacting.
Exactly. And that initial structure is key. So within minutes, fire engines, ambulances, utility trucks start arriving. But instead of just becoming a big jumble of vehicles and people, they slot right into the structure that's already forming. The source material calls it a perfect example of teamwork. You've got fire, police, EMS, emergency managers, even like private utility companies, all operating under one leader.
It's easy to just chalk that up to, oh, they had good training.
Right. But it's more than that.
It really is. It's not just about individual skills. It's about the framework that lets those skills mesh together. That smooth coordination wasn't just luck or, per person being a hero. It was NIMS, the National Incident Management System, actively structuring the response amidst the chaos.
That's the aha moment, really, when you see it's not just about willingness, it's about having that common operating system.
And that system, well, it didn't just spring up fully formed, did it?
Not at all. To really get NIMS, you have to look back at some tough lessons. We already had something called the Incident Command System, ICS, and ICS was brilliant, truly. It brought order to single scenes.
Right. Common language, clear command structure, modular organization.
Yeah.
Great for a house fire, a hazmat spill.
Exactly. A real game changer for managing that scene. But then came bigger, more complex events. Think about the 1993 World Trade Center bombing and then, of course, 9/11. Those disasters showed that while ICS was great at the scene, it just couldn't connect all the pieces when you had hundreds of agencies from different places, all with their own radios, their own procedures, their own command styles, all trying to work on the same massive, widespread disaster.
That's the crucial point, isn't it? 9/11 wasn't about a lack of bravery or effort.
Absolutely not.
It was a painful lesson in what happens when coordination breaks down on a massive scale. Agencies literally couldn't talk to each other. Resources were piling up unused in one spot while desperately needed somewhere else. There was no single overarching structure to unify the whole national effort.
We needed something bigger, a system that could link every scene, every town, every state, every partner from the local volunteer fire department right up to, federal agencies.
And that bigger system, born from that absolute necessity, was NIMS. The Department of Homeland Security rolled it out in 2004. And it's not just like a suggestion list. It's the national blueprint for how everyone involved in emergency management works together. It basically standardized the language of response.
Yeah, and the source material, Kristen Shea's book, uses a really good analogy to explain the difference between ICS and NIMS. It helps clarify that leap.
Okay.
It says, if ICS is the engine that powers response at a single scene, NIMS is the entire transportation system that makes modern travel possible.
Oh, that's good. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So ICS gets you efficiently from A to B within one specific incident.
Right.
But NIMS is like it built the whole highway network. It designed the traffic lights, set the rules of the road, standardized the way vehicles connect so that a local cop and an FBI agent, maybe working hundreds of miles apart yesterday, can show up at the same major incident tomorrow and know exactly how to plug in and work together. It's about interoperability on a massive scale.
And that massive capability really comes down to 5 core principles in NIMS. These aren't just abstract ideas. They're the pillars that make it possible for, say, a fire chief in Florida and a FEMA official in D.C. to know how to coordinate smoothly.
Okay, let's walk through them. First up is preparedness.
Right. And this is way more than just individual agency drills. It's about joint planning, multi-agency exercises where you actually practice working together. It's about setting up mutual aid agreements before anything happens, so sharing resources across borders is already figured out.
And there's probably a lot of, like, trust building that happens in those exercises too, right? Getting to know the people you might work with.
Huge. Absolutely huge. Then number 2 is communications and information management.
Okay, so more than just radios.
Much more. It's about true interoperability, making sure everyone can talk, share data, use the same terms, plain language, no codes, regardless of what brand of radio they have or what their usual procedures are, breaking down those silos that were such a problem before.
Got it. Third.
Resource management. This is about having standardized ways to label, order, send out, and keep track of everything: people, gear, supplies across all the agencies involved.
So you don't end up with 10 teams showing up to do the same job or a critical piece of equipment sitting idle because nobody knows who requested it or where it is.
Exactly, avoiding that chaos. Fourth is command and coordination. This is really central. It formalizes things like unified command.
Unified command.
Yeah.
That's where leaders from different agencies work together at the top, right?
Precisely. They manage the incident jointly, setting one common set of objectives and strategies, but crucially, they each maintain authority over their own agency's personnel and resources. It prevents conflicting orders and ensures everyone's pulling in the same direction.
Makes sense. And the last one.
Accountability. In the middle of a big, chaotic event, it's surprisingly easy for people or equipment to get lost in the shuffle. NIMS builds in systems, check-in procedures, resource tracking to make sure every single person, every truck, every vital piece of gear is assigned, tracked, and accounted for from start to finish. Vital for safety, efficiency, and even for learning afterwards.
Okay, so those 5 principles are the foundation. How do they translate into action? Back to Mall Fire.
Right, the Riverside Mall fire is a great example because it shows how NIMS isn't just one thing. It has these 4 key coordination structures that work together. They interconnect.
Okay, let's break this down. The first one is probably the most familiar. Incident Command System, ICS.
Yep, that's your on-scene management, your boots on the ground. At the mall, ICS kicked in immediately. Battalion Chief Hall takes command, and every arriving unit, fire, police, EMS knows exactly where to plug into that structure. There's no confusion about who's in charge of what section or task.
And it scales up, right? What starts small can grow into multiple divisions, branches, all under that same ICS framework.
Exactly. It's flexible, but ICS, even a big ICS structure, can't do it all alone, especially in a complex event like the mall fire. That's where the second structure comes in, the Emergency Operations Center, or EOC.
Okay, so the EOC is off scene.
Correct. Think of it as the nerve center providing support to the incident scene. The EOC isn't fighting the fire directly. It's coordinating bigger picture things, finding extra resources like specialized hazmat teams, processing requests for help from neighboring towns like Kingston and Millbrook when the local fire departments got overwhelmed.
So they're managing the wider implications and resource flow, looking at the whole chessboard, not just the immediate fight.
You got it. And then for even bigger strategic decisions, especially if multiple incidents are happening or there are major policy implications, you have multi-agency coordination groups, or MACI groups.
AMKI groups. These sound like higher-level folks.
They usually are. Senior leaders, maybe city managers, county executives, heads of major departments. They're not managing the tactics. They're looking at the overarching policy stuff. At the mall fire, a MAC group would deal with things like major road closures affecting the whole city, the economic impact on all the mall businesses, coordinating with state-level agencies.
Setting priorities between different needs, maybe allocating scarce resources across the whole jurisdiction.
Exactly. They set priorities among incidents and resolve resource allocation issues. They make those big picture calls.
Okay, so we have ICS on scene, EOC supporting, ME group strategizing. What ties it all together, especially for the public?
That's the fourth structure, the Joint Information System, or JIS. This is absolutely critical for managing communication. Its goal is clear and consistent communication with one voice during the crisis.
The one voice concept. So at the mall, instead of 5 different agency spokespeople saying slightly different things.
Right. The JIS sets up a Joint Information Center, a JIC. Public information officers, or PIOs, from all the key agencies physically work together in one place.
Okay, I could see how that would prevent chaos.
Totally. The JIC makes sure parents worried about kids, business owners, the media, everyone gets timely, accurate, and consistent information. Like that crucial message. All children from the daycare are safe and accounted for at the community center on Oak Street.
One authoritative source, cutting through the rumors and, frankly, the panic that can spread on social media. Managing the information flow is as vital as managing the fire itself sometimes.
Absolutely. Information management is part of incident management.
So these 4 pillars, ICS, EOC, MT Group, JIS, they sound distinct, but you said they interconnect. Where does the real power come in?
It comes from the synergy when they integrate seamlessly. Let's take a critical moment at the mall fire, something Kristen Shea might describe. Imagine smoke detectors suddenly go off in the daycare center on the 2nd floor, just as the fire visibly spreads to a second restaurant nearby.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's complex. You got to evacuate kids, but the overall situation is getting worse.
Exactly. And this is where you see NIMS really shine beyond just having the pieces. The ICS team on scene, they don't freeze, they immediately adapt. The incident commander redirects resources, sending maybe 2 firefighters specifically to help the daycare staff with the evacuation, while still keeping enough crews focused on stopping the fire spread. Tactical flexibility.
Okay, so ICS handles the immediate action. What about the EOC?
The EOC, getting real-time updates from ICS, knows they need to move potentially dozens of children. They immediately start locating school buses, figure out the logistics, and arrange for those buses to stage safely in the north parking lot, away from the main fire operations. They're thinking ahead about transport.
Right, thinking beyond the fire line.
And the MAC group. The MAC group, seeing the escalation fire spreading, major evacuation underway, makes a strategic policy decision. They order the closure of the main road leading to the mall for everyone except emergency vehicles and those designated evacuation buses, prioritizing life safety and access at that higher level.
Makes sense. Keep the roads clear for the evacuation.
And, crucially, the JIS, to stop frantic parents from rushing to the mall or going to the wrong entrance.
Yeah, that causes another disaster.
They immediately push out targeted alerts, maybe text messages, to the registered parents' phones. Clear instructions. Evacuation in progress. Proceed to Oak Street Community Center for reunification. Do not come to the mall. Precise, actionable information delivered instantly.
Wow. Okay, so in that one scenario, you see ICS making tactical shifts, the EOC arranging logistical support, the MAC group making strategic access decisions, and the JIS managing communication to prevent secondary chaos, all happening almost simultaneously.
Exactly. That real-time integration, each pillar supporting and informing the others. That's the power of NIMS. It creates that truly unified mission, saving lives and protecting communities. Like the NIMS guidance says, it allows us to work together to prepare for, prevent, respond to, recover from, and mitigate the effects of incidents. It's proactive, not just reactive.
And it seems like NIMS thinking extends beyond just the response phase, too. It's about building resilience before something happens.
Absolutely. It's not just about managing the chaos once it starts. It's about being fundamentally better prepared before the sirens ever sound.
And that includes bringing in partners beyond just government agencies, right? You mentioned private companies at the mall.
Yes, and that integration is key. At the mall fire, these weren't just bystanders. They became part of the team, as the source puts it. Mall management, for example, didn't just stand back. They assigned their security chief to work directly with the incident commander in the command post.
Giving them access to things like security camera feeds, master keys, real-time intelligence.
Exactly. Utility company supervisors weren't just waiting for orders, they were in the planning meetings, coordinating shutting off gas lines safely alongside the firefighting tactics. Even partners like insurance adjusters often follow NIMS protocols when they arrive on scene later.
So it's formalized. NIMS actually encourages bringing the private sector in.
Definitely. The NIMS guidelines explicitly state effective incident management depends on the integration of private sector capabilities, resources, and expertise alongside government agencies. Think about it. Private companies often own critical infrastructure, have specialized equipment, or possess local knowledge that public agencies just don't. NIMS provides the framework to tap into that.
That really speaks to the preparedness and planning aspect too, doesn't it? Like the daycare staff at the mall. They didn't panic, you said?
Right, because they weren't figuring it out on the fly. They were following an evacuation plan they had practiced. And crucially, that plan was likely developed and drilled in coordination with local fire and police, using NIMS principles.
And the other mall businesses too. They'd been part of planning.
Yes, likely through community or business preparedness initiatives, often led by emergency management using the NIMS framework. This wasn't just a lucky break, it was the result of including these organizations in planning and exercises beforehand.
So those active shooter drills or mass casualty exercises we hear about, NIMS is kind of the backbone that makes those multi-agency, multi-sector drills possible and effective.
It really is. NIMS provides the common language, the common structure, the expectation of collaboration that allows a hospital, a school district, police, fire, EMS, and maybe even local businesses to all practice together effectively. It forces that collaboration before the crisis.
It feels like the whole journey, from just having ICS for scene management to developing the comprehensive NIMS framework, reflects a really hard-won lesson.
It absolutely does. A hard-earned truth, as Kristen Shea might put it. Good scene command is no longer enough. You can have the best firefighters or police officers in the world, but if they can't work seamlessly with everyone else involved.
The response will falter, especially in large events. The lesson is we can't respond effectively if we do not prepare collectively.
Precisely. And NIMS isn't about agencies losing control or autonomy. It's about learning to move together, finding strength in that coordinated unity, not just in individual prowess.
So when we boil it all down, what's the real essence of NIMS?
I think its true power is how it transforms all these individual capabilities, different agencies, different skills, different resources, into a collective adaptable strength. It takes what could easily be a fragmented, even competing set of responses
Yeah.
and melds them into a unified force, one that can scale up or down, handle a local fire or a national catastrophe. It's fundamentally a systematic approach to cooperation, communication, and making sure everyone knows their role and how it fits into the bigger picture, especially when things are chaotic.
Bringing clarity and shared purpose to moments of crisis. Okay, so here's a final thought then for you listening to mull over. We've seen how this framework NIMS, with its focus on integrated response, common language, shared goals, coordinated resources, how it brings order to the intense chaos of emergencies and helps save lives. So the question is, where else? Where else in your own life, or maybe your community, your workplace, could applying similar principles, clear communication, coordinated efforts, shared objectives, help different groups, maybe groups that don't normally work together, learn to move together more effectively for a common goal, even if it's far away from any emergency scene?